What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another race. We are in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. We got Luke Johnson, the youngster, off the front, taking the hole shot once again. If you've been watching these videos, you have probably seen Luke Johnson grabbing these hole shots on a regular basis. He is literally 15 years old. I had a chance to talk to him the day after this race in nearby Woodstock, Illinois, for part of the Chicago Cross Cup Series. But Manitowoc, Wisconsin, we were at Flyover Silver Creek. This is one of the coolest courses in the series for sure. And we're off to a hot start today. You can see the riders behind us, kind of single file there after that wood section. And they had this set up right near the start finish. So I'm going to come up on Luke here, doing like 500 watts. We're going to get on the front right away. Lap one. And this is one of the few races in the Wisconsin series that has a flyover feature like this, which is where we're about to head to next. And it's a little tricky. When I was watching some of the previous races, I've done this race over the years in the past as well, but I saw a lot of riders taking these stairs one at a time. I found like two at a time was much faster. I think most of the riders in the men's elite race were getting up there pretty easy. One of the kind of tricky parts, it's maybe a little bit unexpected for those that are not familiar with that type of feature, is just like getting remounted back on the bike and getting clipped back in on the pedals before you go back down the other side. It can be kind of like a harrowing experience, actually, if you're not back into the pedals right away because you have a sharp downhill to deal with. Watching this section, it actually feels faster watching the video, which is kind of weird. Like it felt pretty tame, I guess, while I was in the race, but watching the footage from my handlebar mount, maybe that's part of the reason why it just feels or looks faster to me sitting here now commenting. But as you will see, we've got this little kicker short climb on the back side of this course. This is like climb number 1. Getting up there into like the 800 watt range. If you're listening closely, you also could hear someone running into my back tire there. This is also becoming a thing. And antsy riders may be anxious to get around me. But yeah, I got the whole field kind of nipping at my heels right now. That last section was a little wet, and these woods, they have a tendency, I think, to also just like hold water a little bit differently than other parts of the course. I'm still running these very green Michelin tires. We got Casey Hilderbrandt here. He took a little bit of a break in the middle of this season. He had done some earlier races. He is current Wisconsin state champ. Had a chance to talk to Casey before the race here in Manitowoc, and I was telling him that I was watching some of the cursed period races from Belgium last year where he was in the fields in some of the biggest cross races in the world. So Casey is a totally legit rider, and I'm gonna do my best here, shoulder my bike, catch back up to him on this lakefront beach section. Super cool feature of this course, definitely. But I'm gonna get right back onto his wheel, get a chance to see that, peep that state champs kit from Jack Rue. He's got the long sleeve, white on top, Wisconsin state flag on there, but I'm not going to stay behind for long. My strategy right here was basically just to get to the front, and it's not too much further up the road here where we've got the first set of, I guess the only set of barriers. And if you've been watching these videos, if you're following along, you know that my new trick is hopping the barrier. So I wanted a clean run at this, but Casey's not going to give me that. He's instead going to take back the front, hop off. I'm going to hop the barriers. But as you can see, it doesn't really give me that much of an advantage. I had to slow down a little bit to hop those at my like comfort level. Had to do a little dig to get back to his wheel. So context of this race, there's a preem on the first lap for the first rider, second rider, and third rider that get up this Heckle Hill, as it's called. So we're going to see Casey looking back, and he's going to put in a big sprint here. Wants to get that $100 preem. Got some spectators up here keeping it lively. And you can't really see it that well in this footage, but when he gets to the top, there was this critical moment right there where he sort of looked back over his shoulder and definitely took his foot off the gas. I looked back, and I saw that we had a gap, so I wanted to press on, and so I just kind of stayed on the gas after that climb, and I'm gonna do my best to keep it smooth on that kind of greasy downhill back into the woods as we come in on the start of lap number 2. So talking with Casey after the race, he said maybe he went a little bit too deep on that climb. I was at this point definitely expecting him to come back to put pressure on me. We could see 1, 2 riders back there. We had like a Chad Cannon and another young rider, I think his name's Rylan, something like that. Those 2 guys would eventually make contact with Hildebrand and form a chase group of 3. But I'm just going to put my head down here and give it the beans on this finishing straight and try and just extend my lead as much as I can. You know, I'm not going to give up an opportunity to take advantage of us going up that Heckle Hill like full gas. So still just kind of trying to keep it smooth. I'm not you know, I wouldn't say that I'm like frantic in my pace. I'm not like trying to make mistakes or anything like that, but I'm trying to keep it consistent, smooth, and as fast as I can. So back to this flyover feature, and again, this course, kind of like some other courses that I've done and done videos on in the past, it gives you a few opportunities to kind of see what the gap is on the riders behind you. There are moments just like that one where you can see what's going on, you can see who's chasing, who's not there. And so when you're in the race, you have a pretty good idea, if you're paying attention, like what the situation is. So yeah, this section coming up, the one that I mentioned earlier that looked faster to me than it felt in the race, has 2 lines. There's like a high line that goes off to the right there. And I was watching some of the earlier races for this section too, and a lot of guys seemed to be taking the high line, which to me seemed slower. Like you had to cut more speed to make that first corner. The low line seemed smoother to me, so I ended up taking that low line every single lap. And yeah, for me, this course is super nice in that it has these 2, you know, steep, punchy climbs, where if you've got the legs, you can really put down the power on those sections. I'll be posting another video here shortly on the race that took place the next day that I referenced earlier in Chicago land area. And unlike this course, that course really didn't have those same, you know, climby features that let guys with, like, say, like a road season in their legs, like, make a difference. That course was much more flat and had a lot less like climbing sections, I guess, and just more technical stuff. It seemed like it was a shorter lap as well. But yeah, this is one of, you know, everyone's favorite courses. I think it's part of the reason why I'm willing to make the trip up to Manitowoc. For me, that's like a 3.5-hour drive. In fact, even though I live in the state of Wisconsin, driving to Manitowoc was actually about an hour farther away than the drive to Woodstock, Illinois was on Sunday this weekend. Doubleheader. So heading back over here, back to the beach. I'm going to give you a chance to listen in as I run on the sand. You maybe will be even to see my little sticks down below. Saw a few guys earlier in the pre-ride trying to figure out ways to ride that beach. To me, that is just not a rideable section. It's not faster. It's not an advantage. You end up getting this deep sand kind of stuck everywhere in your drivetrain, and there was no rut. It was just footprints everywhere. So I tried it a couple of times, wasn't really able to figure out a better way of doing that section than just running it. And I think, you know, learning and being able to hop the barriers over here each lap is a bit of an advantage for me. I don't think that is, you know, necessarily faster, but it's like smoother. Maybe it's faster after the fact, right? Like you can hop the barriers. Maybe that doesn't actually do much different, but you don't have to clip back in. You're already back on the gas. It takes something less out of you, I think, to be able to do that every lap, so I'm stoked on that. Another thing that you'll see in tomorrow's race or the next video is just the height of the barrier in Chicago is like a little bit higher than the ones that I've been used to in Wisconsin, so a little bit more difficult, a little bit more complicated, and it ended up being a huge factor in the outcome of the race, actually. Back on Heckle Hill, and yeah, I can see now behind me I've got a pretty significant gap, so I'm going to let the rest of this lap play out, let you guys listen with the full audio, and then we will jump ahead to the very end and let you see how this race finishes out. So I don't know if you can see that over to the left on the lap counter. You'd have to really be looking close to spot it, but we have something like 7 laps to go in this race. So we were making pretty quick laps, actually, something like 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes. And we get a chance to see some of the riders behind me here. We're still pretty early on. That's Chad Cannon, Rylan Zaharik, I guess is that dude's name, the youngin'. And Casey Hilderbrandt is actually on off the back of those two chasers, sitting in 4th position on the road. But yeah, we're going to flash ahead. I'll take you right back to this flyover on the very last lap. So we just got the bell coming through the start finish. Looking behind me at this point, there's a pretty significant gap to 2nd place. Casey Hildebrand has worked his way through the remaining chasers of Chad Cannon and Rylan Zaharik, and he's the closest rider to me, but he is, I think, at least 30 seconds back at this point. And yeah, this felt like pretty unbelievable, actually, to me. I was pretty certain throughout this whole day. Like, if you guys watched my race earlier, going to battle with Brian Motter at Pumpkin Cross, I kind of expected Hildebrand to be basically doing that same type of pacing strategy, right? Where he saved everything until the very last and then just puts in like a monstrous few final laps. And yeah, I literally have never beaten Casey Hildebrand in a cyclocross race in my life. So this felt like, for me, a pretty big moment, actually. Like, like a paradigm shift maybe. You know, everyone's focused on different things year over year. This whole year has been moments like this in my case, where I've beat other Wisconsin riders that I've never beaten in the past, like Isaac Neff. Corey Stelgis is another super strong rider in our Wisconsin scene. Both of those guys are national champions in their age group categories. So we have this amazing series and a ton of really strong riders. Like, the depths of our fields, even if they're not like the biggest fields, they are super strong. And so yeah, if anything, I would say it's a testament just to being like consistent. If I've done anything well, I think it's that, and just continuing to show up to these races week in, week out, and doing my best to stay consistent in all other of the aspects of like my life and all the stuff that goes into these, right? Like the sleep habits, the diet, the training, all that stuff. You have to have that all going well for you to be able to win races at this level. So yeah, super stoked to come away with the win on this one, and kind of in a bit of disbelief, honestly. As soon as I saw Hildebrand on the registration page, I was pretty certain that I was going to have like a second place at best. So yeah, I'll let you guys sit back, enjoy the nice beach vibes on this Manitowoc course, and yeah, watch you or let you guys watch the rest of this final lap play out. So another little cool little side feature or something of this race: if you can ride up the straw-laden, bumpy sort of Heckle Hill on the last lap, you get a $5 bill. Gonna toss that down the front of my jersey. Catching riders at the back of the field on this last lap. But yeah, super cool course. Again, I'm feeling like super grateful for the weather that we had on this day, for the fact that I have access to these races. What a beautiful fall it has been in the state of Wisconsin. All of these Wisconsin Series races have been super awesome, and as you'll see at the very end, I am still currently in the series lead, coming down to the last 2 weekends of racing. So we've got the state championship at Trek headquarters November 23rd. That is the finale of the series. And I'm going to be doing one race before then, which is called Cam Rock and Roll in Cambridge, Wisconsin. That one's not too far away, which will be nice. It's like an hour-and-a-half drive for me. But yeah, coming in here, this is the finishing straight on the final lap. Taking the win at Flyover Silver Creek. Pretty stoked. I didn't do my trademark bunny hop over the line this time. I think I gave some like 6 shooters or something as my post up.
Right here, Michael Lambert is 5th of the season.
5th win of the season. We got Paul on the microphone as always. giving us the narrative voice of the events.
Great ride by him.
But yeah, if you liked watching this video, if you want to continue following along, consider following me on Instagram. I'm gonna include a little photo here to my Instagram page. I'm trying to like build an audience there as well as on YouTube. But yeah, if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel, give this video a like, leave a comment, and I'll do my best to keep winning these races and sharing all the footage that I get with you guys. And yeah, with that, I will see you on the next one.